Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I am your host Sandman. Today I'm going to be reviewing the mok-workshop Lockmaster Jackknife Moki edition. Let's get into it. First off, I am publishing this video on a Monday, not my norm anymore. I typically just do one review a week towards the end of the week. However, I am putting this video out today, Monday, so that all of you can jump in on this exciting sale because these are highly anticipated. These are considered among the best, if not the best, jackknife lockpick tool sets that money can buy on the market as of May 2024. I don't know today's date. I just know it's a Monday. I'm retired. But I'm trying to explain to you the importance of this, that these just dropped Sunday, and I cannot tell you how many are going to be available to purchase, but I can say that it's going to be limited supply. This is a limited supply run, highly anticipated. When I think it was known sometime, was it around December, that people knew that Moki was going to be putting it out at his own jackknife tools? I don't remember. Maybe the website wasn't even up yet, but somewhere at some point in time, the rumors that the tools were going to be available started to be known a couple months ago. And there was like a couple of them that like got released into the community. I don't even remember how much. And then the reputation of them preceded them, and everybody was like, what the F? This is a thing? When are these going to be available? So I've been trying to coordinate with Moki. He sent me this for review, and I said, listen, he was like, just review it whenever you want. And I was like, I can't just randomly review it. I have to review it when the tools actually release. And I said, when are they going to release? And so that was been the big thing. When are they going to release? Well, it's going to release when Sandman releases the review. No, I'm on his timeline. He's not on my timeline. So he released the tools yesterday, May 12th. 2024, and they are in limited supply, and that's why we are making this video. So let's go ahead and get into the review. The Lockmaster Jackknife is now available with completely new innards. In this collaboration, the jackknife comes with the well-known Multipick profiles in well-known quality, excellent steel, and the finest finish. The set is rounded off by two tensioning tools, one bottom of keyway and one top of keyway, which can be conveniently stored in the jackknife itself. A versatile selection of hook profiles will please the locksporter. Round tips are represented 3 times. In addition, there is the fine HP 305, which for very paracentric lock profiles, and an HF 1X05 as a crowbar when a little more power reserves are needed. The selection is rounded off with 2 rakes and a half diamond, so raking and zipping are also possible without any problems. All picks are made from 0.5mm 301 high-yield spring steel. Without promising too much, you really get a lot out of this selection. And if mok-workshop wasn't convinced by this product, this collaboration wouldn't have come about in the first place. The Lockmaster Jackknife impresses with a very good locking mechanism that allows the picks to be locked firmly and thus significantly improves use. The classic locking screw is a thing of the past. In addition, the flat and ergonomic designs are impressive and unlike other jackknives. This tool is really fun to work with. We have the provided profiles made from high quality ABS plastic with a clip, double-sided screws with hexagon socket for easy handling. Unique locking mechanism that requires no screws. Simply press the lever to pull out the picks. Select the pick you want and snap it into place. To store, press the lever again. Clip the trouser pocket to your belt or to prevent it from being lost. Can also be removed. Own production and years of development. Thanks to the feedback from our renowned colleagues Locknoob, Talonpick, Oliver Diedrichsen, we have continued to optimize and perfect our product. Scope of delivery. This is important. Scope of delivery, 1 Lockmaster Jackknife, black with belt clip. Check. 8 times picks, they're in here. 1 top of keyway, 1 bottom of keyway tension, it's in here. 1 Allen wrench, check. 1 safety loop, so if you want to put it on like a lanyard, check. And 1 plastic adapter can be used instead of the belt clip if you want to use it. Check. So I read this out because I didn't know what this was when I first did a Lockmaster review, because I'm kind of an idiot. You can remove the belt clip and you can put this in its place so it fills up the gap, and that way you can just put it in your pocket. I think that's really awesome. That's really great attention to detail. They didn't have to do that. I think that's wonderful that they did that. I also spelled out what was included in the contents, because I was under the assumption that when Moki sent this to me for unboxing, that all of the sets will have this 3D printed case. However, not all of these tools will. All of the tools will come with a foam insert. This insert right here is guaranteed with your mok-workshop purchase. However, it may come in a 3D printed box. It may come in a, I don't even have those anymore. It may come in an actual cardboard box. It may come in a handmade wooden box. It is kind of like a lottery system where when you buy one of these, and I don't know how many of these are actually available, okay? But when you buy one of these, it is going to be a lottery system on who gets what. So it's kind of a fun way to engage with the community and to see, you know, what happens. Also, it's a fun way to see what people like the most. Do they like, you know, whatever, I don't know. But he said not everybody's going to get the plastic box, so I'm very fortunate to have that for my collection. However, this is probably going in my pocket, and I'll never use the plastic box. If you don't get the 3D printed box, don't be all sad, like, oh, I didn't get it, the Sandman lied to me. Just put the tool in your pocket and go be a superhero, and let's move on with the review. So let's just get rid of all that paperwork. Let's talk about this tool. So we have the Lockmaster chassis, which is that ABS plastic, and ABS is strong. If there's like a nuclear explosion, the only thing that's going to be left are three things: Twinkies, cockroaches, and ABS plastic. I swear, this stuff is amazing. And the first thing that we should take note is how to remove our turning tools here. It is recommended for turning tools, we just use a thumb and just push up. Do you see how easy that was? That's all we have to do. Let me put these in again and call myself a liar as I can't do it a second time. Just kidding. But if you have to, you can grab the end and pull straight out, but never pull away from the chassis. Never pull away from your tool, because all that's going to do is deform these. You don't want these deformed. So let's go ahead and talk about these. So these are just going to be some type of Parkerized, what I would probably imagine to be some type of 1095 high carbon steel, most likely, just like a cheaper tool steel, but it is going to be very strong. I'd never list the tool steel for a high carbon because the manufacturing process will depend, but these have been coated in what is similar to a Parkerizing or a painting, so that keeps these from actually from rusting in your pocket, or from, you know, I forget this term because I'm an idiot, but these will not corrode. They won't corrode in your pocket because of the coating. And we have one bottom of keyway and one top of keyway. And this is really important. I want us to come back to this. Yeah, actually, you know, let's go ahead and talk about that right now. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the turning tools real quick and why this tool set separates itself from the others. So I have like a total of 14 jackknives within my collection. Let's pull those out real quick. So I have the Swick, which is 301 high yield stainless steel. It's like a total of, I don't know, 18 tools in there or something like that. I have the actual Lockmaster Vint jackknife with the 1095 high carbon stainless steel. I have the Covert Instruments Slim Pickens, and then which has the Riv pick inside. I have the Sparrows. They call it the Escort, and then on all the packaging, they call it like, you know, a jackknife or something like that. I think they are moving away from the name of the Escort because I think they're having trouble with doing ads on Facebook, trying to sell escorts online. And then we also have, I think this was called like the Pocket Pick or something like that, by Martin Newton, who was a designer with John Fall. From NBA USA, but I can't remember the name of this. I haven't reviewed it yet. I apologize. I'm never going to use it. I will definitely use the Moke tool over that. And then I also have the ever so popular Multipick here. And I have the Orange Line Edition from Multipick. And then I also have the Majestic here, which I believe is going to be very similar to the HPC. And then I also have the Southern Specialties tool here. And then I have the Dangerfield, which came before the UK Lockpickers. I don't think UK Lockpickers jackknife will continue, and I didn't even know that it was a direct duplicate or copy of the Dangerfield one until I had it in my hand. I had no idea. I'm friends with Alan. Alan has recently passed. His company has moved on to his daughter, his successor. I don't think they're going to continue this line. So the only difference between these two is that this says UK Lockpickers, this says Dangerfield. If you like this design, if you like the design that was designed by Mad Bob, then by all means go with the Dangerfield, because these Mad Bob ones are basically made of unobtainium. And then, of course, I have the Riv Pick by itself. You can just slip that in your pocket, or you can put that in your wallet. This is all of my jackknives plus this one. That's a lot of jackknives, especially considering 6 months ago, I'd never even owned a jackknife in 16 years. It's just not something I purchased. Of all of these jackknives, what's the point, Sandman? What's the point, Sandman? Of all of these jackknives, let me find it. Hang on. Okay. Only these have what I would be willing to consider or use as top of keyway. So the Pocket Pick by Martin Newton has 2 turning tools that are identical, which was a mistake. One should have been bottom of keyway, one should have been top of keyway, but they has 2 turning tools right there. And then Covert Instruments has 4 double-ended turning tools that can be used for top or bottom of keyway. So essentially 8. And then we have the Lockmaster Jackknife, which is the same turning tools as the Moki edition, just Moki edition has different picks. And then we have the granddaddy of them all, which is the Swick, which has a lot of turning tools in it. I can't even remember how many. I think there's 8 total turning tools, but 2 of them are double-ended, so a total of 10. It's hard to figure out. So there's not many on the market. I would say less than 50% for sure. Probably, let's call it 30% of the turning tools worth purchasing on the market, have anything relatively similar to having bottom and top of keyway. And that's important. I really love Multipick. I'm a big fan of my Mad Bobs, but at the end of the day, you really need to have top and bottom of keyway if you want your customers to be happy and to be able to pick all the locks. So let's get these out of the way for now. We'll reference them if we need to come back. So going back, that's what makes this one a unique standout, that only 30% of the tools in my collection at the very least, which is a good representation of the tools worth purchasing on the market at this point in time, only have the capability of top and bottom of keyway. We really need that capability. And if you are new here and if you're not familiar, top of keyway allows us to pick single pin picking at the bottom of the keyway, and bottom of keyway allows us to rake with uninhibited ability the pins without knocking out our top of keyway tool. So you have the ability to use both rakes and individual lock picks. So that's something I wanted to get into. Let's go ahead and talk about the uses of the tool. Now, in the description, it described pushing here to allow us access into the tools here, which I don't necessarily think that that's needed. I like this cutaway here on this. I can just grab the tools and pull them out. I will say, though, as I have found out in previous videos, for some reason, I don't know if it's just my version or what, but my version of the Lockmaster from Vent, I have trouble getting the tools out. I have to, but the workaround to that is you can just use the turning tools to scoop up your tools that you need. It's not a big deal. It's not an issue. It's not a deal breaker. That's just something that I had to learn the hard way. So what makes this so special? Well, we just talked about all these tools, and let's bring these back for reference here, okay? Of all the tools that are on the market, get ready for this. First, let's talk about lockpicks in general. There's only about 30 manufacturers in the world right now making tools. A couple of them are resellers, but only about 30. We have had about 10 discontinued in the last 2 decades, and we have a lot of resellers from one specific manufacturer. But in total, there's really about 30 lockpick manufacturers that are running around the world today. And it's a bit of an estimate. There could be 5 more, maybe 10 more that I haven't named on here. And some of these, like I said, are resellers, but this is a very good representation. If I could find extras, I will put them on here. And of the 30, 1/3 of this list, about 8 or 9, are going to be what I consider tier 1 because they use 301 high yield stainless steel, which is the strongest tool steel currently available on the market for lockpick manufacturing. So 301 high yield, which is 280,000 pounds per square inch of ultimate tensile strength. And then other companies are using 400 series stainless steel, which is a surgical steel. And then some companies are using 1095 high carbon. And then we also have the 301 full hard there, which is about half the strength of the 301 high yield. And there may be a couple at some point that do make those pocket picks. I'll review those in the future, the Raimundo style pocket picks out of the titanium grade 5, which are non-magnetic and non-corrosive. So, but ideally, we want to stick between 1095 to 420 to 301 high yield. There's nothing wrong with the 301 full hard. These are still great lock picks. There's a lot of tier 1 manufacturers that do produce tools with 301 full hard, and they're good tools. I'm just giving you an idea as to what is out there on the market. Now, if we go back to my collection here, there are only 2 manufacturers that actually produce 301 high yield, the strongest tool steel in the market, and that's Moke and the Swick. So you are really comparing this in functionality against all the tools out there, and we could easily start knocking some of these out for functionality. I can knock out these guys, I can knock out this guy, because if anything, I would compare it against anything that has top of keyway. So let me do that. So of all the tools that have top of keyway, which is the Slim Pickens, the Pocket Pick, and the Lockmaster, and the Swick, only one of these has 301 high yield. Now, that's not a deal breaker for me. I really believe in the ability of the Slim Pickens. I really love the Lockmaster and the 1095 high carbon. I really love the Swick, and I don't even know what type of tool steel this is. I don't remember what tool steel they went with the Pocket Pick because I haven't reviewed it yet. But this is one of only 2 on the entire market that is 301 high yield. And 301 high yield, for anybody that doesn't know, 301 high yield, in my opinion, is Hattori Hanzo steel. I mean, it is just magnificent, and it is strong, and it is just so functional. And the one thing that sets Moki tools apart from everybody else is the polish on these suckers. And this does it no justice. I mean, this is a used tool. I'm trying to clean it off here with my shirt, and it just does it no justice. I can look at myself in these things. They all come with a mirror reflection, and that's what I want you to be able to see in these. Let me see if I can wipe this off with my shirt here. I can see myself in these freaking tools. They're amazing. And not only are they made of a functional design with the chassis and the lockback system that locks the tools in place, and not only does it come with functional top and bottom of keyway, but the polish on these is just something that's not really represented in the community. I will say, though, that in comparison, I think that the Slim Pickens and the Lockmaster from Vent come very close with their tumbling finish. I think that they have been tumbled perfectly and expertly, but the polish on these from Moki are just something that's not comparable in the market. In comparison to the Swick has a very dull finish, and it has a tumbling process that is very lacking. In fact, I question if these are even tumbled at all. I read someone give a critique of this tool. They spent $160 on it, and he said the profiles were almost so sharp that he was cutting himself on them. So he had to hand polish these. Man, this half diamond right here is so rough. Oh, look at that. Someone hand polished these with sandpaper. That's how rough this is. Look at the roughness of that. That's not a polish. That's just somebody deburring these tools. I don't know if this comes from a centrifugal tumbler, but this looks like it was something done by hand with sandpaper. Not something that's done with emery cloth or something that's higher than 1,000 grit or wet sanding like I would do as a luthier or a woodworker when you're working with like a lacquer finish. And, you know, not that these need a wet sanding because they're not lacquer finish, but come on, like this is not good. I mean, these could easily be put on a buffing wheel to make better, couldn't they? I don't know, man. But these are pretty rough. Look at that. That is rough. That is rough. Rough city. But take a look at this. Nah, doesn't even compare. And man, this thing is just covered in my finger grease. So it just doesn't do it any justice. Let's talk about some of the profiles here. So these profiles are going to be very unique to and specific to mok-workshop profiles that we see among his tool line. If you're not familiar with that, let's talk about that for a quick second. So he does come out with these tools. You can get them in green or black handles. These are the older version 3D printed handles. He now has a newer, similar to an ABS plastic type handle. And I have all of his picks. I just brought out a couple of them just so you can get an idea. And these are considered some of the largest lock picks on the market. They're amazing. Like if you have big hands like me, these are the tools you want to go with. Alternatively, he has a really nice ecosystem where you can buy a really nice case. He has very nice tools for turning tools, some of the nicest, best you can buy. He has a total of 6 in this collection. Most people only have 4 or 5. Some people only have 3 for top of keyway. You can use for top and bottom of keyway if you want to, but he also has double-ended turning tools, which I don't even have here in front of me. Who knows where those got ghosted to? Oh, wait, here they are. So he also has double-ended top and bottom of keyway turning tools here that you can buy separately. So he has a ginormous ecosystem. He doesn't just make a, you know, it's not like Swick, where if you go to wherever Swick's website is to purchase the Swick, this is all they have for sale. And they don't even do that great. You know, it's not like Pocket Pick, where this is all you can buy and you have to buy this through email. He's an entire brand. He's an entire brand that you can invest in and know that he has good quality tools. His tool steel is 301 high yield, highly polished, and his picks, I don't have one set up right now, but imagine this profile inside of the handle. And so if I bend or break this tool, I can take off the handle and flip it around and expose the other one. So you're basically buying 2 picks in one. And so he's taken the design of these picks and put them in the profiles here, and that's what we have. So let's talk about that real quick. I have a backdrop here that I can use, and I always lose it. Where is that? Okay, here it is. Let's see if this works. So let's start from left to right. So we have a triple peak Bogota initially designed by Ray Raimundo in 1981 while he was vacationing in Bogota, Colombia. And he came up with this idea being inspired by the mountains of Bogota. And he found a street sweeper bristle piece of metal, and he made a tool for lock picking just for fun while he was on vacation, and that's where this Bogota design comes from. This is a quad rake, which is highly inspired from the Bogota rake. This was actually designed, probably most likely influenced and designed by Christina Palmer, who is a designer of lock pick profiles and design and a prominent member of TOOL, the open organization of lock pickers. She's been a member of TOOL for well over 15 years, if I'm correct. And so this is probably something similar to her design, which was inspired by that. There's a little bit difference. One is a little bit more subtle in its peaks, and one is a little bit more aggressive in those peaks. The difference between these two is I would probably use this one here, the Quint. I would actually use this for probably my padlocks, things with smaller pins. This is a little bit less aggressive, whereas the 3 peak is a little bit more aggressive, and I would use that for my residential and commercial keyways. I'm sorry if this isn't focused. I'm doing my best here. So the next profile we have is a traditional half diamond. I really like that. That's nice. It's a good profile to add to the set. And we have what I would consider to be a rounded thin, and then a flat, and 3 rounded hooks. So we have a short hook, we have a medium rounded hook, and we have a deep rounded hook. Honestly, I think this would be still considered a medium, and this would be somewhere between a medium and a short, and then you have a short, and you have your traditional flat hook, probably originally designed by HPC about 75 years ago. And then we have this new design. This design here is probably similar to a Christina Palmer thin, or something we may have seen coming out of a Multipick line of tools. So really great for slightly paracentric keyways with really high-low bidding, and of course your staple of that flat hook. All of these tools are just going to be really great modern staples that I see in all of the current pick sets that are available today. I really like the offering here. Let's go ahead and just choose one of these. Let's go with that short flat hook. So I'm just going to pick one here. And I love the polish on these because it makes operating this so smooth, and we do have a locking position. There is a little bit of play here, but I probably can alleviate some of that play by tightening a lot of the bits and parts in this with the provided Allen screw. Yeah, that Allen screw came a little bit loose, and so I can tighten everything a little bit here. And there's a hole right here for accessing this. Yep, that was super loose. Yep. Let me see if I need to tighten anything on this backside here. Yep, everything can use a little bit of tightening here. I don't think I'm reversing anything on the opposite side, but yeah. Oh, wow, that took out any slack. Okay, So if your tool comes with a little bit of slack in the shank, all you have to do is just tighten this guy with the provided Allen. This thing is not going anywhere. That's not budging at all. That's interesting. It started to move when I was holding it incorrectly like there. Of course it's going to move because that's the anti-lockback, or the lockback rather. But once that's in place, that thing's not going anywhere. That's great. I'm sure if I tried hard enough and wiggled it hard enough, I could get this thing to move, but that was a big difference. I wonder if I need to add Loctite to this. I don't know. Time will tell. Time will tell. I don't know if loosening this or tightening it, over tightening it will cause this to malfunction, and I don't know if adding Loctite would cause this to malfunction. Also, I wouldn't want to add Loctite to this because I like the idea of maybe Moki coming out with an expansion kit where he may offer future profiles here. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? Before I can open up the other ones, I need to close this halfway, and then I'm going to open up the other profiles, and that'll help loosen things up a little bit. So here's an idea, and take this from a woodworker and someone that is a former locksmith and former technician / mechanic. If you were to take wood glue, not Loctite, which is for machining, for locking down these bolts and these machine screws. But if you were to take wood glue and put a tiny, I'm talking like if you were to just take a toothpick and dab it in your wood glue and put that on the threads of this right here and then tighten it in, not only would it be water soluble, so if it became too tight, you could dilute it with water, but it would be strong enough to hold this machine screw, but it would be weak enough that you could break it loose with the leverage from this Allen screw. That's a little tip from a woodworker to you, that you can use wood glue for your machine screws as a form of Loctite that is less permanent, less semi-permanent than what Loctite would do. So if you are having that trouble, that would be my recommendation, but more experimentation needs to be utilized. I really love that he has a really nice polished pocket clip, and that's probably just a carryover from the Lockmaster chassis. Let's open up this guy and see if we can find some comparisons. I do know for some reason my Lockmaster is a little bit tighter. I can't get it with my thumb. So if you have trouble with that, you're gonna have to use your fingernails and try to dig this guy out just a little bit. I don't want to bend it all the way out. And then I'm going to pull forward, just pull it forward just to break loose some of these tools here. And then the next one should come out loose. So you do have to think beyond the tool. Also, the instructions say to push here on the locking to pull it out, but I don't have thumbs. I'm essentially a hand model at this point in my life. So I still struggle to pull out the Lockmaster. If that's the case with your Moki, which I don't have a problem with the Moki, but for whatever reason, if you did, because of that chassis design, just take your turning tool and we're just going to come in here. We're just going to scoop it out. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal at all whatsoever. And once I've scooped that out, I have access to all of them. So in comparison to the Wint tool, we do see that similar Bogota action here, which is a little bit more, I would say, pronounced or aggressive. And we do see a similarity where we do see our rounded hooks in a low, medium, and a deep, but these are a lot more aggressive, I would say, than the Mok ones. I would say the Mok ones seem to be less aggressive, in my opinion. I would say that that's an accurate assessment. For instance, if I were to take this deep hook here, and I were to compare it towards the Wint deep hook, it is two completely different profiles. Absolutely. The Wint deep hook is a little bit deeper than the Moki one. So without a doubt, these are not just copies of the Wint tool. These are mok-workshop profiles with mok-workshop steel, 301 high yield stainless steel versus the 1095 high carbon steel that you see in the Vent. Now then, I like the Vent, however you want to pronounce it. I think the correct terminology for it is Vent, given that it is in German or Dutch. Did I say that correct? Somebody's going to yell at me. It's not the same. But I would say, let me let this thing focus. I would say that this is a great tool. 1095 high carbon is a good tool steel. However, though it is strong, and though it is a good tool steel, and though these are great profiles, if this is going in my pocket, I would want the tool steel either a stainless steel, or I'd want the tool steel to be coated like a parkerizing, which is not something that's ideal for your profiles because the parkerizing will just wear off through use. If this is going in my pocket, the fear is that 1095 high carbon will rust. It will corrode. It will oxidate. It'll do all kinds of things that steel does when it matches moisture and oxygen in your pocket and salt from your sweat. So this is a great tool. This is in my top 3, but 1095 high carbon, though strong, is not ideal for a pocket pick set, in my opinion. 301 high yield, however, is. Alternatively, so is the 400 series stainless steel, and so is anything that may be of the 301 full hard line. Man, this is so nice. I like this. This is probably going to be a part of my everyday carry. It really is. It really is that nice. I tightened it up quite a bit. Make sure that you operate this thing before you tighten it up and then add some type of wood glue, like my recommendation. Maybe it was a bad recommendation, but I don't want this to become inoperable, that's for sure. You don't want it too tight, and that's okay if there's a little bit of slack. I think one of the most successful jackknife products on the market is anything that includes the riv pick, whether that be the slim pickings or the covert companion, because the ability to have multiple tools in one, but the ability to have this thing fold out and be a full-size lockpick is a really great selling point for me. And there's a lot of really high lock pickers that are making this very successful in our community today. I think this was a really great design. I think the only fallback to this design is I would love to see these tools come in a 301 high yield, and I would love to see an expansion of these tools with multiple profiles. I think this is my #1 choice when it comes to what I would recommend for an everyday carry. However, this is also my #1 choice as well. I don't have one that is going to be better than the other today. I usually have a top 3, and it used to be that the Swick was in my top 3. I can no longer recommend this anymore because this thing, they need to figure out their finishing process for this to be in my top 3. I haven't reviewed this yet because the verdict is still out. I'm still testing it, but I'm leaning towards that it needs to be finished. This is a 90% complete tool, 98%. I really like the slim pickings for the practicality there. I really like the vent Lockmaster, and I also like Multipicks because this is actually the lightest lockpick on the market if you're not including the riv pick by itself outside of the slim pickings. I really like the designs and the profiles. They probably have like something like 20 profiles that you can pick from these now, and I think this is a really great offer too. But right now, because this is new in my collection and because I really like the tool steel, I love the polish and I love the profiles, this is now edging towards my #1, and this is probably going to replace anything that I've been carrying as of late. I'm still keeping my covert companion in my everyday carry, which is my sling bag, which is where I keep my concealed carry. But if I'm going to put a lockpick in my pocket, it's going to be this, the mok-workshop, because of the ability to have top and bottom of keyway, because I like the 301 high yield stainless steel on it, and because I like the polish, and because these are not uncomfortable to actually pick a lock. These are practical, completely practical. I really like this design. And it's fun to show off. It's a conversation piece. Sometimes, you know, you walk around with a tool in your pocket for 6 months and you want something new. Even if the tool in your pocket is perfect for your lifestyle, sometimes it's nice to shake things up a bit and add something new to your collection and bust out and show your friends and say, hey, check out what I got. So that's probably really what's going to happen over the next couple months is I'm going to be adding this to my everyday carry from this point going forward. But if you're curious about everyday carry options, I have lots of videos on them. And if you're in the market for a jackknife, I've probably got like 6 or 7 videos on jackknives at this point. And I can, you know, all of those videos can answer your questions. I really think that this is worth the buy. I really think that this is worth the 39 euros that this is selling. I don't know, it's a crazy good price. Let's take a look at that. I can't find it. 33 euros. Good Lord, Moki. What are you giving these away? 33 euros. So that makes it like, I don't know, $37, $39 USD. Let's call it 40 just to be cruel to Moki. $40 USD. That is market average. First off, the most expensive tool on the market is going to be the Sparrows, and it's the most heaviest, and I hate it. It's just not worth the $90 that you buy it. Then I bought the Mad Bobs, which was probably close to that. I don't remember how much I paid for it. I just kind of closed my eyes, and it was in some, you know, I don't remember if it was British pounds or something. I don't remember. Everything on the market averages about $40, but we do see items that go as much as $160. So I lied. I said this was $90, and that was the most expensive. This is the most expensive, but I think this was $100 before the expansion. I think the expansion set me back another 50. I'll have to look back at that, and I still have to do a review on this. That being said, $40, it's adequately priced for this. Given everything that went into this and the fact that it is very specific to Moki, it is. What is this tool lacking? What is this tool needing that it's lacking? In my opinion, I think Lockmaster is a really, really wonderful brand. For me, it's weird because we actually had a Lockmaster brand here in America. It's called Lockmasters with an S. It was plural. And they're based out of Lexington, Kentucky, I believe, which is a school you can go to be a certified locksmith. And they had their own line of tools, probably just made by Brokage or Majestic or HPC. And so it's funny to see the brand Lockmaster because my mind thinks to that. But that brand is now defunct. That it's no longer, it's been discontinued. And in fact, looking at my notes here, Lockmaster may have been an A1 variant, but it was discontinued. What I would like to see is I would like to see this in a black or a green handle, optional, or black on one side, green on the other. And I wanted to see mok-workshop or Moki edition or something. I want to see this in green handles with mok-workshop on the side. That's what I want to see. I know that Moki, the gentleman that designs and owns the company mok-workshop, he's not a rich man. I know he's just getting things rolling with his company. But I like to think this time next year, he's going to have his very own tools. All he has to do is have the chassis 3D, not 3D printed, but ABS printed. It's either a printing, injection molded, or some type of molding. So that's what I would like to see. I would love to see mok-workshop branding, not Lockmaster branding on my mok-workshop, but this is just a limited special edition. As I said, I don't know how many of these are actually going to be available. I don't know how long they're going to last. They may last for a couple weeks. They may last for a couple months. They may last for an entire year. There's no telling. I have no idea when he's going to restock them. But if I were you, if you were in the market and if you had $40 and you wanted a pocket pick set, this would be my advice. This would be that recommended purchase. I don't have anything else to add to this, folks. Let me know in the comments down below. Also, I want to throw out there that if you are interested in Moki lockpick cases, I get a lot of questions about this pick case. I'm not an ambassador for Moki. I'm not an influencer for Moki. Moki has never paid me money to do his reviews. He has sent me a couple products for review. He sent me this jackknife for review, but I purchased all of the picks myself. Every single pick that I own from Moki, I have purchased. He may have sent me a couple gym hooks. But listen, I'm not like friends with the guy and I'm trying to bark up his stuff. That being said, this case is one of the nicest cases in my collection. The feel of this, my words on this video cannot do this case any justice. It is superb. It is nice. And you cannot buy this. You cannot buy this from his website, but I just found it and I was like, hey, that matches. And so I put it in there. But it's just superb. I really like it. People have been asking me like, hey, Sandman, can I fit such and such inside of such and such? I think someone's like, can I fit the Moki tools inside the Jimy Longs case? I'm like, dude, if you have Moki tools, buy the case. Because Moki tools are an investment and you want to protect your investment. I like to customize my investment. I have these custom 3D printed handles. There's going to be a gentleman that I'm going to be doing a review of his tools, and he should or may possibly have an Etsy account so he can provide customized handles for all of you as well. But I love my Moki tools and I love to protect my investment. So that being said, if you are new to Moki, the case is absolutely worth it. And all of the tools for Moki. There's nothing from Moki that I don't like. He also sells pinning trays and he also sells plug followers. In fact, he has a whole bunch of different colored pinning trays and plug followers. Everything from this hot pink to a blood red to black to whatever that is. And he has the followers here if you like to gut your locks or repin, or if you're trying to get your green belt in the Reddit karate belt ranking system, that's just the way to go. That's all I have for today, folks. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you see yourself purchasing this? Are you going to pass? Does this excite you? What do you feel like this should have? Do you think that all of them should have the 3D printed case? Are you okay if you don't get the 3D printed case? I don't know how that lottery system works yet. I don't know how many of these he's made, but it'll be interesting to see who gets these cases and who gets hand wood. What was it? Hand wood? I don't know. Let's see who gets wooden cases that are handmade. That's what it is. So that's all I have for today, folks. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you all so much for watching. And remember, I'm not rich. I'm irresponsible, okay? And I'm just a businessman blessed with many friends. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.